my name is Haruhi. Welcome to my first ever vlog. Okay, and just so you know, spoilers for the Arrow Season 4 mid-season finale, and in fact, a pretty decent amount of Arrow Season 4 will be in this video, so if you have not watched, and you don't want pretty much a lot of important things to be spoiled, you may want to catch up. Okay, so this video is about why Felicity Smoak is almost certainly not the person in the grave in the premiere. Now, when the grave in the premiere first showed up, a lot of people were speculating that it was going to be either Felicity, Thea, Diggle, Laurel, Lance, or possibly Malcolm. However, all those got ruled out, mostly, but also not ruled out as the season progressed. However, all are still sort of considered fair game, as the person in the grave has to be someone that is going to emotionally impact Oliver with their death, which means that it's pretty much got to be someone close to him or that has some significant influence on his life, as he was in tears at the grave, which is not something he'd do for the average person. But another factor is it also has to be someone that Barry Allen knows, because the Flash shows up at the grave after the funeral, and he tells Barry that he's sorry about what happened and that he wished he could have been there sooner. But that rules out some people. For example, Lance, because he is not someone that Barry would be going to the grave of. Unless, of course, something happens later in the season, which, as the crossover has happened, and unless there's another one, does not seem quite likely. And then, there is a couple other factors. Now, with the mid-season finale over, it ended on a very horrible note for Oliver and for Felicity, as Felicity was shot by some Hive soldiers and was pretty much like dying with internal bleeding, blood running out of her mouth, and not moving or anything really. And then the promo shows her being pretty much ushered into surgery for the next episode, which is extremely far away to wait for this much emotional trauma that they just inflicted. However, while signs point to Felicity being in the grave based on that, I personally believe she is not in the grave, even though, as they had just gotten engaged, it would be a very big emotional impact on Oliver and on Barry as well, because of the fact of how close Felicity and Barry were. But if you think back to the scene with the grave, Oliver was crying, but not hard enough for it to be Felicity, in my opinion. And Barry was not crying at all. Now, we all know how emotional Barry Allen is. Barry Allen would be in tears over Felicity, if not bawling his eyes out. Barry Allen doesn't shed any tears. He's sad, yes, but not in complete tears or breakdown, which leads me to believe that it is not Felicity. Another thing is, there are two characters that most people, and there might have been one or two besides me, did not consider could possibly be in the grave. Now, the first one, this one I'm honestly considering scratching as a theory due to the fact that we haven't heard anything from the actress that plays her being in Vancouver or coming back to the show at all. Unless, of course, someone missed a Vancouver announcement that I didn't get. Now, shortly before the premiere, Stephen Amell posted a Two Lies and Truth, and pretty much they were the Huntress will be in the premiere. They were the flashbacks will take place in Russia. And then the other one, I honestly have forgotten, but I am 90% certain that was a lie, as it has not happened yet. And it would be awesome if anyone has a screenshot of that, as he did delete it shortly after, because I would definitely love to just refresh my memory on what it is in case I missed something, but I'm certain that one was a lie. It just seemed very unrealistic. Like, unrealistic on the level of Malcolm Merlin wears Snoopy pajamas. Anyway, brushing that thought aside, the Russia one was obviously a lie, as the flashbacks are taking place on Lee and Yu, which is very obviously not Russia. Although at first I will say I did think it was going to be Russia based on what happened, but nope, Lee and Yu again. And then that leaves the Huntress was in the premiere. And unless she somehow made this street cameo that we all completely missed, as no one said they saw her, it means that the Huntress was in the grave. Which, based on the amount of impact her character had on Oliver, might be enough to make him cry. Because of what she represented. After all, she was what he could have become had he kept going down a dark path. Had he not had people that were able to positively influence him and help pull him out of the darkness. But that doesn't explain why Barry was there. Unless, of course, the Huntress somehow makes an appearance on The Flash in the next few episodes, or Barry makes an appearance on Arrow at the same episode she does, in order to actually create some impact and a reason for Barry to be there, because while he could be there for just emotional support for Oliver, it's not incredibly likely. And then next off, yep, but the flaws in the theory are she has not been in Vancouver at all, as far as I know, for filming. She is not listed anywhere as coming back. And there's pretty much been nothing on her coming back at all for season 4, other than one post I found somewhere that the producers said they'd love to have her character back on the show. Whether it means in the future we'll see her, or that they brought her back just to kill her and put her in the grave, I don't know. Or it could have been possible that Stephen Amell maybe just told 3 lies. I mean, stranger things have happened, but he doesn't seem like the guy that would do that to his fans. So either the Huntress was in the grave, or the one that I'm certain is a lie that I can't remember was the truth, and I need to figure out what that was. I totally should have screenshotted that. Anyway, the other person who I have not yet heard mentioned in the theory, except I think one person mentioned her, would be Samantha. Now, unless, of course, you were paying attention to names during the crossover, or in last season, a lot of people are going, who is Samantha? Now, Samantha is the mother of Oliver's son, William, and she shows up during the crossover, and Oliver reconnects with her and pretty much gets permission to visit his son. However, it's just reconnection as in a friendship, and as in the I want to see my son and get to know him type. So Felicity fans can feel fine about that. He's not trying to date her or anything. And then, but the big thing about that is because she lives in Central City, her death would be impactful on Oliver. It would impact him, his son. It would be enough to make him have that emotional reaction. Her being from Central would give Barry a reason to be at the funeral. Barry might have even run into her, besides the fact that he found out she was the mother of Oliver's child. And all in all, I am 90% certain at this point that is Samantha who's in the grave, and that Felicity is red herring. In my opinion, all the signs point to it. So if we did a top 3 chart of who would be in the grave, number 1, Samantha. Number 2, Huntress, because of the 2 lies and a truth. And then number 3 would be Felicity because of her condition. However, while Felicity's character would have so much emotional impact by dying on Oliver, I feel they've got so much more they can do with the character by keeping her alive, and it's kind of cliche for them to just kill her that way. And it would be so much more interesting to have Felicity be a red herring and then to have Samantha die or Huntress return and die. To be honest, if I had to pick my favorite, it's a tie between Huntress and Samantha, although I personally would prefer Huntress just because we haven't seen the character in a while. It'd be nice to see her again. It would possibly, her death, I think, would be a good way for her to have a little bit of resolution to the character. Because I think if they killed her, they would do it in a way to fix a lot of the issues the character's been having and possibly redeem the character a little bit. And then, because, like, if Samantha dies, there would be pretty much a good chance that Oliver would have to raise William, and I don't think Oliver's ready to raise a child yet. I just don't. Well, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Harvey, and I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Yep. And I totally wish I had an awesome catchphrase or something, but I don't. And if you think of a cool catchphrase for me, that would be totally awesome, and you could put that in the comments too. Well, thank you, and this is the point where I'd use a cool catchphrase if I had one.